Hi, my name is Amanda, and today I will tell the story of my sister that was a victim of coronavirus. Earlier this year, it was announced that a virus was contaminating people in China and killing a lot of people. This virus started spreading, and suddenly it had already arrived in Europe, and Italy was the most affected. Many elderly people died, and it was very sad to see all that. It was announced that we would live in a pandemic world the next few months, and that the whole planet could be affected, and many people would lose their lives because of this virus. That was on the news everywhere. It was on TV, on radio, on the internet, and it was then that in the world a hashtag was created saying #StayHome to encourage people not to get contaminated or contaminate others. Everything started closing. Schools stopped, companies closed their doors, and only essential services kept working. Everything was restricted, and people couldn't go to the hospital. It was dangerous, and only those who had a serious problem must go there. After a month, the world stopped. People had time to talk. The day-to-day rush ended. The use of public transport was only for those who really needed to work. The streets were empty, and the use of masks became mandatory. Here at home, we also followed the rules, and we avoided seeing my grandparents since they are from the risk group, and we needed to protect them, of course. In some countries, the quarantine started in January. We were in May, and everything was still closed, and everyone locked in their homes. To go to the supermarket, pharmacies, and other essential services, we needed to justify the reason in a written form. In Brazil, the quarantine started in March. At first, it wasn't really hard. We were used to being stuck at home. But then, the family gathering on the weekends ended. The children no longer had birthday parties with friends, and classes were all online. At the beginning of May, almost 10,000 people had already died in Brazil. It was almost impossible to watch TV because it made me depressed to watch all these bad news. Hospitals no longer had vacancies in the emergency rooms, and many people were suffering from the losses. Unfortunately, people broke the social isolation and distancing, and the death toll started increasing. As much as the authorities were strict and were putting rules in place, people weren't listening nor obeying. My family decided to respect the orders, and we were isolated at home, respecting the orders of the Ministry of Health. But my older sister worked at a hospital as a nurse, and she cannot protect herself from all of this. We used to talk to her by video call every day, as she was practically living in the hospital. And we realized that she was nervous about the situation, because she was working hard and was worried too. As the days went by, things got worse. Hospitals already were collapsing across the country. The lockdown was officialized in São Paulo. Roads closed, streets and avenues. Whoever left the house could get a fine. And one day, we received the news that my sister got contaminated by the coronavirus. We were very worried and sad. It was horrible news. And then she was sent home, as she shouldn't contaminate other people at the hospital. And at home, she was isolated in a room, so she wouldn't pass the virus to the rest of the family. As the days went by, she got worse. The fever didn't stop increasing. She coughed a lot and started to have breath shortness. We decided to look for a place at the hospital, and it was the most difficult part. They didn't have enough respiratory devices for everyone, and my sister was getting each minute worse. My family started to panic. We didn't know if we would find a place for her, and everyone was very sad. She went straight to the emergencies, was sedated and intubated. My mother was desperate. The doctor said that the first 72 hours would be crucial because she stayed a long time waiting to get an emergency room. The hours didn't seem to pass. The anguish increased, and my sister wasn't getting any better. I couldn't believe it. It was happening to us. 4 days after her admission in the emergencies, my mother received a call from the hospital informing her that maybe my sister wouldn't survive another night. We cried a lot because we knew we couldn't say goodbye to her. The situation was very hard. We spent that night awake, hoping for a miracle, but thinking of the worst. It was the worst night of our lives. The phone rang, and luckily we received good news. She had improved a lot during the night before, and the doctors said that they were waiting a little longer to diagnose her case. After 10 days at the hospital, she left the emergencies and was much better. The doctors made video calls so she could talk to the family. We knew that now she would go through a long recovery because she needed to learn how to continue living step by step after this coronavirus. She was still weak, of course, and this is why she had to take it step by step. When she recovered completely, she started an awareness campaign to tell people to stay home. She told her story on social media about how much she had suffered, to encourage people to stay home. Certainly, this year will be difficult, and we need to adapt to the new world and learn how to live only on the internet. Our life will not return to the normal so soon. I tell this story to as many people as I can because I know that I can help in some way. The months will pass and more people will recover. Things will start to return to normal. The stores will reopen and people will be able to travel and work again. I am sure we will be able to beat this virus and we will be happy and free again. I am happy and grateful that my sister is with us and in good health.